On the 26th of August, Melbourne had their third mechanical keyboard meetup of the year, and I made my way down there with a quick 1 hour plus flight south of Sydney. I've said this before, but mechanical keyboards are events set up by members of the community and is a great place to see, feel and experience a whole range of mechanical keyboards and accessories. But you also get to meet and talk with other people with the same interests and get to see people you might have talked to online. You can usually see these meetups on the Mechanical Keyboard subreddit, which shows the upcoming events, and I'll link that in the description below. This one was set up by my friend at DailyClack. You can check out his Instagram page and website where he regularly posts mechanical keyboards and other tech. I was told that there was like 30 or so last time, but they more than doubled the attendance this time round, and it proved to be quite overwhelming for the small room we had and made it pretty tough to film, but I was super impressed with how many people turned up, and it's just great to see the interest and enthusiasm in the community. Alright, so let's just get into some boards. There were a ton of keyboards, so unfortunately I can't verbally go through all of them, so my apologies. We'll start off with the smaller ones at 40%, with this Mech Mini with a clean black aesthetic and a large spacebar just because, and the VORTEX Core, which is a ready-made board that you can get and comes with these sweet DSA keycaps by default. We have just a few ortholinear keyboards. This one is a solid aluminium NIU or NU from KBD fans, and is themed beautifully with blank pink DSA keycaps, KAILH speed pink key switches which use a click bar, creating a super crisp typing experience, and to finish it off, a pink cable and artisan. This ortho from OLKB is the Prionic and features a larger 12x5 layout which is mounted onto a steel plate and closed off with some hardwood ends. This one is an even larger ortho at 14x5, and the enclosure is a sandwich style case made from acrylic with of course a clear layer at the bottom to see the wonderful hand wiring which is done up to a teensy, and he also has this cool little LED circle for that bit of lighting. And then the only other ortholinear board, which happened to be the one of just the two split keyboards there, was this wireless split PLANCK or PLANCK with GATERON blacks. And the PCBs were made by Spindle, and this is just a great little project just using two metal plates to hold it together. The other split keyboard was this ORANGE-DOLCH Infinity packed with 62g Zelios and topped with DSA granite keycaps. Just a great piece as always, with a sandwich acrylic case and clear bottom to get a clear view of the PCB, and surprisingly that was it for the splits. When enthusiasts come together, there's always going to be a bunch of TOPRE boards, and the HHKB had a solid presence as always. This HHKB had a unique look with some tasty Blizzard smoke mods, some blue alphas and some matching artisans on the flanks. This one is the super clean black version, but also had some mods to really make it pop in those vibrant Miami colors. There were also some JP HHKBs, with this one having the Hypro keycaps on there which feel and look absolutely amazing, plus it had a bunch of mods and it houses a Hasu controller, which all really bring out the most of the potential of the HHKB. This one had a solid cohesive color scheme going on with is what I assumed are dyed keycaps. Then we have a couple of artisans to match, creating quite a vibrant board. There were two real forces, with this one being for sale, which had a bunch of mods done to it, and the other one had a dark red and black theme happening with the perfectly matching keycaps. And there was actually a LEOPOLD FC980C, which is again a TOPRE board, but I've never actually got to try one before. I love the layout of this board, and the classic white and grey colour scheme with a few touches of colours look great, and of course some Rama caps for good measure. There were also some Cooler Master Nova touches with the TOPRE switches in them, and this one had fake Dolch DSA caps, and then this one had an aftermarket aluminium Neubauer case with some really nice keycaps on it. Finally, there was just the one TOPRE clone I think, and this was the PLUM Nano 75, and I personally really liked this one because of just how light and fluffy it looked, especially with that reactive lighting. And then of course there were all the other 60% boards, being pretty much the most accessible and customizable keyboards you can get. While looking pretty simple, this was packing a Zeal 60 PCB with Zelio key switches, an aluminium case, and topped with the GMK terminal set, making for an understated but superb keyboard. Here's another Zeal 60 PCB, but this time in a nice blue aluminium case, and a cute set of Vamila rainbow keycaps. This GH60 was in a HHKB layout and had their GMK Scalidor set, and just had a simple sandwich plate with that floating key design. And then above that was a Duck Viper V2 with a beautiful Hyperviews SA keycaps featuring a massively long spacebar and a perfectly matching Cosmo Artisan, and this thing is just a nice solid piece of aluminium with acrylic slits for a bit of glow, and it just looks so clean and well put together. The Royal Kludge RK61 isn't something I've covered yet and is often overlooked, but these Danger Zone SA keycaps just look amazing and completely has your attention with the very minimal bezel the case has. Then there was this solid metal brick. This Duck Mini replica had a beautiful set of MAXKEY SA ORANGE-DOLCH keycaps, and of course had a real chunky thick case. Like, just look at that backside, it doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't matter. Even back in the day, we had Apple making this gem of a board, and this is the MO110 from 1984 with that classic and beautiful angular enclosure design, which is timeless in my opinion. And then for 60%, you can't go wrong with the classic pokers and the budget-friendly and Pro. Now this was a super interesting board for me. This is the Bleach 60, which is a PCB made by NANO and has SMK and Aru switch compatibility. This one has SMK 2nd gen white MX switches with a set of Milky Way keycaps, but then we turn it over and we have some mad hand done art on the aluminium case. The owner said that he's going to get this laser etched in the future, so that's going to be awesome. 65% boards are also a really popular layout and form factor because of their balance between functionality and size. This Alu 64 had Enjoy PBT Hangul for the keycaps and some CMYK mods, giving it some vibrance. From Vamila, we of course have the ever popular VA68 boards, but these ones were extra special. First is this VA68MG, which is the magnesium alloy version, and this is the Valentine's Day edition, appropriately fitted with GMK Valentine keycaps. But then we have this VA68CU, which is the copper alloy version, and this is from the same person by the way, and being copper, this thing is packing some weight at about 1.8 to 1.9 kilograms, and I just love the look of this one as well. There wasn't much of Alps, but this VA68M had SKCM cream damped Alps, so this is just an aftermarket PCB to accommodate the Alps switches, and of course the wonderful AEK keycaps, as standard MX keycaps aren't compatible. Here's another popular 65% in the LEOPOLD FC660M, but this one has an aftermarket aluminium case in this very sleek dark blue. I'm not really sure what's the go with the white keys, but it's still awesome nonetheless. This FC660M had the standard plastic case, which is also really great looking by the way, and has DSA granite keycaps which just never fails to look good. The Tada 68 is one of the most popular DIY kits in the market, and this one has the cyan aluminium case and then packed with a variety of keycaps including an open spacebar and CNC'd aluminium caps from Salvan. This Smart 68 was one that I missed, but has a bunch of stuff done to it and has a really interesting set of keycaps. And of course the good old budget Magic Force 68, one of my favourite budget boards because of what it represents, but this one is one of the best ones I've seen amazingly with GMK Hydro. Being in Melbourne, the Rama pair were there with a bunch of cool stuff. Here's the amazing M65, which is partially covered by the really sweet looking SA Grand Budapest set, but unfortunately he didn't have the PCB for it. And above it there's an example of the black version and also the brass weight which sits on the underside of the keyboard, and it's just an amazing feeling and looking keyboard, and it's just unfortunate that I couldn't try it out in its final form. There was also this 60% which is just a lovely piece, and this also had some prototype keycaps of some different profile. And there was no shortage of Rama M10 pads from different people. This one in particular went full Rama, and people who are familiar with this stuff will know how pretty crazy this is. This one also had some super sweet artisans from SVSN keycaps, and the person was there selling them as well, and they just had really great detail to them, plus looking super appetizing, which is probably a bad thing. There were also a bunch of switch testers, including this thing, We also had some cool special Melbourne Meetup macro pads by Amtra5, which house one key switch and a Pro Micro. I also have one from Sydney, and it's just a great collection piece to have. Alright, so now to finish it off, we have 75% and above. This is an MX Mini from 22KBD with a sandwich style case using 2 aluminium pieces and an acrylic middle, and features DSA granite, which yet again doesn't fail to look good. There were a few KBD 75 boards which feature a solid aluminium case with an acrylic slit towards the bottom, and this one had a sweet set of GATERON. And then this one had a variety of keycaps including an artisan. Unfortunately I missed this one, but this XD64 had a bent plate case with a heap of mods with the insides and topped with SA Photo Studio. Probably one of the brighter keyboards was this DUCKY Shine 3 with this bright yellow case, which happened to go well with the SA Godspeed keyset and just makes for a really fun looking keyboard which I enjoy. This set of GMK Penumbra was on a Philco Magistouch 2, which as always is just a solid board. This Duck Blackbird was another keyboard with a load of different things going on. It has a sweet layout with JTK orange on black keycaps, and this thing probably cost quite a bit with all these different parts, but the end result was amazing to see and feel. Another heavyweight was this Red Scarf 96 with a super clean set of GMK Saware keycaps. There's also underglow on the rear, but yeah, I really do want to eventually get a board with this layout, as we basically get a full-size board but in pretty much a 10 keyless form factor. This keyboard was stunning with that unique layout, which is basically a 65% board plus the function keys on the left, and the DSA light cycle keyset really makes this board as well, along with a matching artisan and cable. Here's a pair of Armillo boards that were given away for the raffle with that super clean center typeface, and for some reason these silent reds in particular felt really good. And to wrap up the boards, we have a couple of older ones which I really don't know much about. The amount of high-end stuff here was just amazing to see, just metal everywhere, a whole lot of different sizes and layouts, and of course the keycaps. It's nice to get to see all these key sets that you see online, but of course you can't afford. But again, a mechanical keyboard is a mechanical keyboard. Seeing all these boards can be pretty overwhelming, but you don't need these extreme boards to come to these events, so don't ever feel like you can't attend. And that's pretty much it. I just love the concept of meetups, and it's just a great time to converse and check everything out, even if you're a beginner or don't have a board, because you won't get this sort of opportunity to help you in deciding what to get. The amount that you're able to try can really give you ideas and inspiration on what you might like. There's constantly meetups around the world which are linked below, so definitely try to get to one, including the upcoming Sydney one at the end of the year. So overall, it was a great success and a great event. The attendance was amazing and was unexpected, hence the small room. And sorry if I missed your board, I got real lazy towards the end, and it was quite tough to squeeze through and get everything. A huge thanks to Rhys at DailyClack and the others who helped him out in organising the meetup. You guys did a super job with organising everything with the venue, the posters, cards, all the little giveaway stuff, and of course the absolutely loaded raffle. But the raffle wasn't possible without all the generous sponsors. It's this support and kindness that drives the community, and it was greatly appreciated. And a final thanks to everyone who filled up the identification cards. It really makes my job easier, and of course the good people on Discord for helping me with identifying some things.